And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tabacco Show. I am Matt Tobacco from SmokinTabacco.com, and I am joined once again by my good friend, Mr. Jonathan M. Carney from La Flor Dominicana and Hacking Gourmet. And tonight we are joined by the one and only, the infamous, the outlaw of the cigar world, Kevin Shahan, also known as Cigar Prop. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Well, welcome to the Drew Estate Experience Asset Studios. Sorry, LFD. It's but you guys can come down to Texas since you guys aren't going to be at PCA. That's what I hear today. That's been what everybody's been talking about. So welcome, guys. It's good to be on your show.
Yeah,
absolutely. We'll touch on the PCA thing because later on, I guess we can talk. Let's talk about that in the news segment.
All right.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the news segment. Well, just for the record, Nicole will be at PCA. Kevin, I assume you'll be at the show.
No, we've got too many other things we got going on. We're doing all the barn smokers. We're doing the Drew Estate 25th anniversary down in Texas. We've got some other smaller events planned. Trying to get down to Nicaragua at least once, if not twice, still by the end of the year, and so we just couldn't fit PCA in. Plus, PCA, they're kind of little bitches about media, God, you got to pay full price and everything else. That's kind of a little bit of a pain in the ass.
Well, I mean, you got to pay to play, I guess,
Yeah.
But I understand. I guess I understand what you're saying. But like John said, we'll get into that a little bit later. But
yeah.
But yeah, hey, thanks for coming on, man. It's probably going to be a good time. I've watched you, a bunch of times. I know what to expect. Not nothing too crazy. It's not like having our boy Matt Booth on the show.
Oh yeah. Did you see what show he's going to be on
Sunday?
I did.
Yeah, I did.
Do those guys know Matt? Do they understand? Do they know who Matt Booth is?
Can you just imagine Jose Blanco, Marifel, Carlito, being on there and he starts to do his antics that we love, but they might be like, what is this? Who got him on here? Seriously, who got him on here?
I think you might see a little more reserved version of Matt Booth. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, he'll be a little unreserved, but I don't see the dynamic that he generally might have. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show. I definitely not going to miss that one. I'm excited. I saw it today and I was like, oh boy, this is going to be good.
I'm glad we all said the same thing and laughed. Yeah.
But no, I mean,
it's going to be. I want it to be really awkward. I want it to be so awkward.
I want it to be so awkward. I want them to kick him off the show halfway through. Just like, and we're having technical difficulties, and then.
Well. Oops. If for whatever reason, and the only thing that could really make it like completely fall off the rails, and this won't happen, but for the sake of shits and giggles, if William Cooper was on the show, that's it. That's it. Because once he's on there with Coop, that's it. It's over.
It's game on. Game on with when Coop's on there. I think he tries his best to just to get Coop going. It's like what questions am I going to ask him? So, but yeah, great guy, and we all know he'll be respectful, and he'll try to lob a couple their way maybe.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun show to watch. I'm very excited for it. I do watch that show. It's a good show. But we love Matt, so that's going to be a fun one to watch. So I'm really excited for it. But so tonight's going to be a little different. Oftentimes we have a lot of manufacturers, retailers, and etc. on the show. But we've occasionally done some of the fellow media people. Coop's been on the show. I've had, a man of different hats. I've had David Garofalo on from the Cigar Authority, but also of Two Guys Smoke Shop and all of the history there. But it's fun to have some of the other media guys on too, because it's kind of like I like to call it like a sharing notes kind of show. Kind of just it's a different vibe. It's kind of like you're not really in the same position of like sitting down with a manufacturer or a rep or whoever. It's a little bit more freestyle, and I like those shows a lot. I think they're a lot more fun. I know John, I know you've had a lot more fun on some of those shows that we've done. So this is gonna be a good one. It's gonna be fun. John, I believe you had said I like to tease, rub the nipple in the beginning of the show when I know what's happening. But there is a soap review tonight, I understand.
It is. We're going to be doing a sampler, a little sample. We have a 1 ounce sample from Outlaw Soaps, so we're bringing a little bit of
Oh.
Outlaw back. We'll be doing the Mountain Hideout today. So Mountain Hideout, that will be a soap review, and so yeah, so that should be exciting. So that'll be good. But I did get something cool this week. Before we get into what everybody's smoking here, I'll tell you guys what I'm smoking after. But
Yep.
Alec Rubin from Alec Bradley, who we will be having on the show here sometime soon, sent me up a little care package, actually. Coincidentally, so Alec and his brother Bradley are big cigar smokers.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, they have a big cigar brand that their father started and they're involved in, but they also smoke a lot of other cigars. And one that I've come to enjoy with them has been LFD. So Alec bought a beer stein from our 20th anniversary 5 years back, just recently. And when it came in, it was broken. So he sent me a text. He's like, "Hey, just wanted to give you a heads up. This is broken. I know it's 5 years old, whatnot." I said, "Let me see if I've got a replacement at the factory." So I sent him up a new beer stein, and I had no idea anything was coming my way. But they sent me a baby bump ashtray, and coincidentally, they didn't know that I had a child on the way. But they found that out. So fittingly, I have the Alec Bradley baby bump ashtray.
Oh wow.
I'm not. I don't know what makes it the baby bump, but I think it's because they probably called the big one the bump, and this is a smaller version of it. So probably this
Oh,
is the baby bump.
maybe, yeah.
Yep. And so they sent me that. They also sent me some fine and rare, and then they sent me this gigantic drug paraphernalia lighter here. It takes literally an entire can.
I've got the little one.
Butane. Yeah, yeah. So I got this. So that was kind of cool. So thank you to them. Shout out to the guys at Alec Bradley. I'm not smoking an Alec Bradley tonight. I'm smoking the LFD TAA event exclusive cigar for TAA events that we did about 4 years ago. So I'm smoking this bad boy tonight.
I am smoking a Perdomo 20th anniversary sun-grown Epicure. And if you head over to twoguyscigars.com, you can find the cigar for $9.99 for a single cigar or $198.99 for the box. Head over to Two Guys Cigars. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. Kevin, what are you smoking with us tonight?
I am smoking the Drew Estate Nica Rustica tonight. This is a cigar I've had in my humidor for years. Never smoked it. Never understood why I didn't smoke it. I finally tried one a month ago, and I've gone through a box of them already. So an absolute fantastic, dirty, gritty, grimy cigar that's just absolutely fantastic.
So
I think gritty is a really good description of that cigar.
yeah.
It is gritty, and I've always tried to explain the taste you just described, and gritty is it.
Yeah, it just works for some cigars.
It's the opposite of refined, really. I mean, you have like, wow, this cigar is really like refined. It's polished. It's smooth. Or you go the other way. Well, what's the opposite? Gritty. It's rough. It's gritty. It's got some, do I go this way? Maybe it's a little unbalanced. Not saying that one in particular, but when you're, talking,
Yeah.
Unbalanced, balanced, but gritty is one that you don't hear a lot of, at least to me. I don't hear a lot of gritty. So I like that description as well. Gritty. That's a nice way to
The
describe it.
smoke productions on the Nica Rustica is incredible too, which you can tell by looking at Kevin's screen here.
Yeah, he's full of smoke.
It wafts. So that's a
the-
really great smoke production.
Yeah, the only one that smokes more is the Nightshade. You don't want to smoke the Nightshade inside. It's got some smoke.
I would say a lot of the Drew Estate stuff, it produces a lot of smoke, and
Yeah, that's what they're known for. Yeah.
and I like that. Like, I love a lot of smoke, so to me, I think that's great. But I agree with you. there's been some, like even in like the legal line, there's been some cigars that I've had indoors. Like in the wintertime, and we'd smoke in the garage with the door cracked and the heat on. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna grab one of these tonight. And about like 5 minutes in, this place is already like a fog.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, I love the cigar, but this is just too much. And then I have to open the door and let all my heat out. But yeah, I mean, I definitely would say a smoky cigar is a more favorite of mine than a cigar that has very little smoke production. But that's just me. Kevin, so I know that you smoke a lot of Drew Estate. I know you're a Room 101 guy. Tell me, what is kind of in your wheelhouse for like a regular cigar? What's your like your top five, kind of like every day, or maybe not every day, but your regular smokes that you go to all the time?
You know, it's yeah, as someone in the cigar media world, like I don't often get to smoke what I want to smoke.
Oh,
Like it's so,
I
so,
hear that.
sometimes it's with its being advertising or just trying to keep your Instagram fresh, so you're always grabbing that next cigar that someone else may not have seen before.
Right.
So, but yeah, if I'm pulling something out of the humidor lately, it's either going to be the Nica Rustica or the Herrera Esteli,
Ooh.
the Brazilian Maduro,
Oh, I
or it's
love
going
that
to be
cigar.
or it's going to be a Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust, the Sober Mesa El Americano.
That's a
It's
that
going to
that
be
that's a good one too.
some of my go-tos.
Are you
You
a
know,
big are you a big Dumbarton guy?
I love everything
Hmm.
Dunbarton and Steve. Steve's such a great guy, and
Oh yeah.
we love him over here, and sadly he loves Jessica more than he loves me, but that's okay. I've learned to accept that. It's fine. I'm happy with that, being playing second fiddle to her.
It's funny, I'm not. I would say I'm a huge soccer guy, but he does some really good stuff, and I enjoy some of the stuff that he does. Sin Compromiso, I would say, has got to be my favorite cigar that he makes. The Sober Mesa stuff I think is fantastic, and when it comes to the meat corridas, I found recently actually I enjoy the Tricky Traca more so lately. It's a really good cigar, and I think that one of the things about Steve that I like is he's a little different, and everyone likes to be a little different. Everyone tries to do their own thing, and I like how Steve's number one. He's good with social media, so I mean he's
Yeah.
out there, he's communicating with people, he's in touch with people, he's accessible, so to speak, in so many in some degree. But I love his whole like his attitude about like when he goes in and he makes cigars and you know and he'll go through hundreds of test blends. And I've heard him say it too. He'll go through and he'll be like, this is like the 48th take on this cigar, and like it's a cigar that's already out, and he'll be like, but I'm still not happy with it. I'm still trying
Yeah.
to like reblend it, even though it's already out. I give him a lot of credit for that because, it's a lot of work. It's to no matter what it is that you do, to keep trying to perfect something, you never give up and you're always putting all your energy into it. That takes a lot. So, yeah, I know Steve's a cool guy. I don't think we haven't had him on the show yet. We would like to have him on the show. That would be a fun episode. But so tell me, one of the things about you that I've picked up on is that you've been very successful with YouTube. Now, there's a lot of us in media here. There's whether it's strictly podcast, whether it's Facebook Live. Um, we do all of it here. But you really have a good presence on YouTube. Now, being that as it may, with cigars and tobacco being less than favorable with some of these people, and you hear the rumors and the rumblings about certain platforms that maybe try to attack the cigar and tobacco community. What has been the biggest key to building such a presence on YouTube with your cigar channel?
Um, Having a business, I have a business where I manufacture items, of cigar prop.
Hmm.
So a lot of times people will, someone will ask for a product and like, hey, you gotta go see Kevin at Cigar Prop. So they'll sometimes if they can't find me, they'll Google Cigar Prop. Well, that's my YouTube channel name as well. If you understand Google Analytics, since Google owns YouTube, if there's a keyword search on YouTube, it puts that at the top of the search. So someone
Right.
may find Cigar Prop down below, but they're going to find Cigar Prop in the, the top of their search bar. Then some people are like, hey, I didn't know he had a YouTube. Let me go check out, YouTube. And then it's being on all the social media platforms. A lot of guys don't do it. It's we're on Instagram. We kill it on Instagram. Jessica and I. That's a good thing about having two people. She's got 5,500 followers. I've got 5,499. And then it's being on TikTok. We've got like 24,000 followers on TikTok. So, so when you look up and trying to search for Kevin Shahan or Cigar Prop, I mean, we're pinging all over the place, and it's all, and Google's always driving it back to YouTube, and it's making quality content, and that's what we've never stuck with cigar reviews. There are so many guys out there that, and a lot of them are friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are friends, and I love them. They just stick to cigar reviews. That's it. They don't like veering. They stay in their lane. And we've never done that. We've done unboxings. We've done snack crate unboxings. We've done just everything. Cooking with Cigar Prop. Just the other day, I posted out how to make chewy granola bars. If you want to make something healthy for your family. So you can come to my channel and get just a lot of knowledge, not just about cigars, just about everything. So I think that's the key to our success is. We've just we're kind of like Steve Saka. Steve Saka blends cigars only for what he likes.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't like it, it's not going to get put out. I make content like I'm looking at that content, So that's what so I try and make the content that I like and that I like watching.
I think that's I think that's great. I agree with you on that one. And I like how you mentioned how you're on all the platforms, which I think is key, and that's one of the things that I've always, and I've always tried, stay on Instagram, Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook Live, we're on the podcast channels with all of our episodes, it's trying to get like on as many platforms and places as possible because, every platform you're going to reach someone that you might not reach somewhere else.
Yeah.
I have Nicole with me as well. She has her own social media that also promotes, the brand and the show and everything that we do. And I like how you brought up the guys who do, the cigar reviews. And I agree, it's nothing against them, but you're right. There's a lot of guys who they focus a lot on the reviews, or it's like the reviews and just the show, or it's mostly just their website. And everyone has to do what works for them. So I'll never knock anyone and be like, well, he doesn't do Instagram. That's fine. If that doesn't work for someone, then that's, hey, props to. I mean, like Coop, who I love to death, William Cooper. He's not a real big Instagram guy. We've had the conversation, and
Yeah.
but at the same time, his show is still successful, and he's done really well with his website, and he does do reviews, and he has something good there. So it's just interesting. It's interesting to see kind of how everyone likes to do it, what works for some people, what maybe works for you, maybe doesn't work for me, and vice versa.
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
people want to connect. So I'll ask both you guys the same question. What's Coop's wife's name?
Oh, I actually don't know. I feel like he's told me, but I don't remember.
Most people know that of who Jessica is. Most people know our son Wyatt. So and that's what I try and get out there is we try and promote our family a little bit, because people want to connect. When I smoke an LFD, when I smoke a Dunbarton, I want to connect with that company. I want to remember a cool story. Every time I smoke a Dunbarton, I just think of one of the 100 stories that Steve has told me. When I smoke an FSG, I remember being on the farm and just hanging out with Jeff, and it was such a good time. And then I know his wife Tanya. So we all want to connect. So a lot of these cigar reviewers and these people that they're closed off. They don't want to open up their lives to anybody. And I think sometimes that's it's a little standoffish. People, that because they want to connect with somebody. They don't want to just watch. If I'm learning how to do some plumbing because I got a sink to repair, I don't care about that guy's wife. I don't care about that guy's his kid's name. But in our industry, the cigars, it's personal. So some guys that that just do the reviews and They really don't open up, and they can't really connect with their viewers. Those are the guys that struggle to do good and struggle to gain followers and get viewers. But at the end of the day, if that's what they want to do and they're having fun, that's fine. There's absolutely
There's
nothing wrong.
almost like a sense of authenticity that needs to come across
Yeah.
when you present yourself online, and it's something that I know you've done very well with. It's something that I'm getting better with, and I know I could be better. I think a lot of times I just kind of get caught up with the rest of my life, and I forget to either share that and document that with people. And there's so many times I've done things, and I'm like, oh man, you know what? Like that would have been great to share with people. I feel like the people would have gotten a kick out of that, and like the opportunities missed. And but I think you're right though, because people want to know, like it's this natural reaction that people have this I don't want to use the word fascination, but maybe I do. But like people come on to my show, they watch your show, but they also want to know like what does this guy do during the day? And then you give them a glimpse of like what you do outside of your show, like when you're at work or when you're at home, or like just like shit you're doing with your wife, or like something you're just doing that's not in cigar related. And people get intrigued because they're like, oh, what's he doing? And people just like naturally like feel this sense of like I need to know like what is Kevin doing like at 2 in the afternoon on a Wednesday? What's he doing? And then you go live and you're like, hey, I'm at my house like fucking around with this, whatever, and it's not even cigar related, but they're like, oh, what's he doing? What is that? And people just have it's like reality TV at that point. It's just
What is they always want to know, because there have been times, people have messaged me like I said it'll be on a Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday afternoon, and they'll be like, oh hey, I haven't checked in with Kevin today. Wonder what he's doing. And if I haven't posted anything like that day or the day prior, I'll get a message on Instagram or the Facebook page or my email like, hey, so like what are you doing? What do you got going on? I haven't seen anything today. And like people like they just want to know. And it's like, yeah, I'm just busy as always.
yeah.
That's it. So you try and want to make yourself accessible so you're not too hoity-toity, I guess. You look at like Brian. I see the tiki torches in the back, so it reminds me of Brian Glenn. He which does a great job, crushes it on YouTube, but he seems, we talk, inaccessible. Like you couldn't call Brian, if you had a cigar question, but like you could call me. You could call Matt, you can call John. John looks like a normal dude, that like he would answer your questions.
That's true. And I think that's a huge part of it. It's just being accessible. People just they want to talk to you sometimes, especially when they watch you all the time or like they follow you and like they want to talk to you, ask you questions. And one of the things that I've always tried to do, like whenever anyone like tries to like DM me, ask me a question, like I always try to get to it and answer it, and like be respectful and be like, hey, how's it going? Like I don't know who you are, but like I'm not gonna be like who the hell are you? I'm just, hey, how's it going? Hey, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, I can help you with that. Like oh no, I don't know the answer to that, but like and I'll point you in the direction of someone who does, and that's part of it too. It's the community aspect of it. The cigar community is a community just like any other community. The car community, the whiskey community, the any kind of sports community, whatever it is, it's a community of people who are all in the same boat together. So I want to experiment. Tonight's going to be kind of like and I feel like you'd be a good person to do this with. I'm going to experiment with some fresh new questions that I want to test out. This is going to be kind of like my test kitchen, so to speak, with some of my questions. First of all, I want to check in with John because John's been a little quiet over there. I just want to see how he's doing.
Yeah, I'm doing well, doing great.
Just vibing.
I'm really enjoying this cigar. It's beautiful outside, man. It was like 95 degrees up here yesterday in Maine. So I spent the day in the pool, but it was humid as well. So we just got done with kind of a little heat wave. So it's nice to sit out back here and not be have to get carted off because sweating. Because I come up to Maine to get away from the Florida situation. So when it follows me up here, it's a little bit discerning.
It's been very muggy here because I'm about a couple hours south of John, just outside of Boston. So the weather is almost pretty much the same. And yeah, the last like 3 or 4 days, it's just been like, dude, just shoot me now. And I'm out in the heat all day, so it definitely wears down on you. It has been sticky and it has been hot.
So I would say one comment of the stuff Kevin was talking about. There's some things I agree with and some things I disagree with, which is great, right? It's good to have different.
Oh yeah, you have to. Yeah.
So I think, by the way, I do know Coop's wife's name. I'm not going to say it. I've met her several times,
Oh, okay, okay,
coincidentally.
okay.
Yeah, I'm actually one of the few. But yeah, no, I think the thing that makes you successful, and you mentioned a couple things that's fascinating. I think for anyone that's doing this type of thing is you actually have a business, and when there's a business involved, there's more sides to it, and you can branch out, and your business
Yeah,
has branched out. I think that's why you're having the success you have with that, which is great. But also at the same time, I'd recommend. I think there's a reason why this show does well. Is this is the same type of, you mentioned accessibility. You know, this is the same types of discussions that I have when I'm in a lounge. This is the same types of discussions that Matt has when he's in a lounge, and I'm in every lounge for the
yeah,
most part. So this is very much a example of what goes on in a cigar shop. So I think that's what's really made it successful for us, and what's made it made Smokin Tabacco successful for Matthew all along. Is it's always been really about the authentic lounge experience. And you can say that, oh, we're going to bring the lounge experience virtually to you. I don't think that happens all the time, but here I think that's an angle that's huge. This is not just an interview. This is discussions that happen that when you sit down having a cigar in a shop, and if you're interested in the business.
yeah. Oh, exactly. And those are the shows that I like. It obviously always kind of cigar centric, but if a topic goes this way, like a good host, co-host, we'll just keep going, and then some shows they'll answer a question, they steer it back. Let's get back to the cigars, and then like no, let's just keep winding down this path, see where this path takes us, and that's what always makes it nice for to watch shows like this.
Kevin, let me ask you a question because I know you've done unboxings and whatnot. You make your own products, so you're experienced in manufacturing and making and selling and all that of your own products, and you've reviewed other people's products. In your opinion, and John, feel free to chime in on this too, but I want Kevin to go first. What is the most useless product that is available on the market today? It could be anything.
For I mean,
It doesn't have to be cigars. It could be anything,
oh,
anything at all. What do you think is the most useless thing?
I can think of a handful of cigars, right?
yeah, yeah. For the cigar industry, there's okay. So I don't even know if I have them. Let me see if I do. I have them right here. Hold on. So this was and I don't know where these come out of. I think South Africa, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if you can see it. So what this looks like. It's a button. So just imagine a button. It looks
Okay.
just like a button. Got three holes where you would sew, the thread, and you'd put them on your shorts, and then little holes around it, and it's got a barb on the end, like just like a
Little
almost like
tail.
an arrowhead.
Okay.
So what you do is you put it in the end of your cigar, and then you smoke it, and then those holes funnel the smoke somehow and vortex it inside your mouth, and it changes the flavor of the cigar, and it makes for an enjoyable experience. But technically you throw each one away every time, and then you grab another one. It is horribly ridiculous. I've got different sizes they sent me, and it's ridiculous. I don't even know.
It goes in the top and the cap. You put it
Yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah. So you cut it. So you straight cut it,
So you
and
do
then
cut it,
you jam it in,
and
and
it
then
just sits there.
it's a wooden button. It looks just like a button, like you'd sew on your shirt.
That
And
is,
it,
I've never seen it, but
yeah.
that seems incredibly useless.
What's the point?
You know
yeah,
what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like a wine aerator that you would put in the wine bottle, but that actually serves the purpose of like
yeah,
opening up the wine. But you don't need to open up like the smoke in your mouth, like on your palate, like it's already there.
Yeah.
yeah. Horrible idea.
And we and
And, and yeah, and if anybody really wants to look it up, the name of the company is Cigar Lab. So CIGAR LAB. Um, it's just a weird. I found them on, or they found me on Instagram.
that's interesting. I
Yeah, so yeah, Cigar Laboratory on Instagram.
hmm.
So yeah, you can find them there, and it's Cigar
I'm
Lab.
I'm actually looking at it right now.
Okay.
That's very. I'll have to look at it later, but that's very interesting. Wow, I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm gonna definitely have to look into that later. I might have to review that product. I just might have to. John, John, would you have an answer to this question? I'll let you fire in on this.
I mean, Kevin just raised the bar. I mean, this
Yeah.
Yeah.
seems pretty. This seems pretty ridiculous. I'm not trying to talk. I mean, it's cool. It looks kind of cool, I guess, but I think it's just unnecessary,
Is it
right?
just it's
Um,
more gimmicky than it is functional.
I'll be honest. You want some straight transparency. I think one of the oh man, this is going to tick some people off. I think one of the most obnoxious products for me over the years that I've used is any Zycar lighter.
Yeah,
I've
Explain.
never,
do you
Explain.
want me to get my piles of them? Yeah.
yeah, I've
Yeah.
never used. I use mostly, the Jeeps and Bix
Yeah,
just because I can
yeah.
fly with them and stuff, and
Piles.
obviously this now.
Piles.
But I like their products. I think they look great. I think they um, appear that they would function well, but I've never had one that's functioned right. And I've asked them before. I was just like, I've asked some of their salespeople and people that run their business, and people that used to own it. I'd asked them before, are you guys aware that out of every lighter I use, like 10 out of 10 of them ends up breaking? And they're like, well, yeah, we have a lifetime warranty. I'm like, I don't care about a lifetime warranty. I just want the damn thing to work. And there's a long story about it and whatnot. And for me, that for me has always been the most obnoxious thing in the business. And I don't know if that's changed. I don't really use them anymore personally. I don't have anything negative to say. I mean, I guess that's pretty negative. But that for me is the most obnoxious accessory and item in the cigar businesses. Anytime I've bought one, been given one, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, since quality bought them out, they've taken the quality out of Zycar when it was just like, I think the two brothers that started the company, if I remember right, they were fantastic products, and now it's just
But even then, I don't know. Like I'd run into people that were sales rep with them. Every sales rep had a car full of broken lighters. Like I
yeah.
don't have a car full of plugged cigars. You know what I mean? Like, it seems counterproductive, and I know it's a mechanism and things like that, but it just seemed every time I used it, it drove me nuts, and I had issues with it. So that's full transparency. That for me is the most, I wouldn't say useless, but most obnoxious thing that I've used in the cigar business.
And you wonder why they haven't taken like a Jeep, or an inexpensive lighter, and just put, because Zycar, like their aesthetics, hands down some of the most beautiful lighters out there. Why don't they pair up with someone that makes a $5 lighter and just throw an inexpensive insert, use that whatever mechanism they're using that lasts forever, put it into something cool.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
All that shows to me though, is because this went on for a long time. Like, I've been in the business now for 10 years. So for 10 years, I've had that issue. All that shows me is they must just be making an absolute killing on those lighters. I mean, the profit
Yeah.
margin got to be out of control. It was just like, oh, we'll just
yeah.
give you a new one.
Yep. I've always wondered, and they don't even do that anymore. They'll repair it and then send it back. I had this one, their Zycar Tactical, loved it. I mean, it worked all the time for like a solid year. I loved it. I raved about it. It stopped working. I bled it. I put it in a nice box. I sent it back. They sent me the exact same one back. All they did was drop it in a bubble mailer. Didn't even protect it. No, nothing. They dropped it in a bubble mailer and threw it in the mail. And that's how I got it back. Beat the hell. Oh, we let my dog out. Yeah, Zycar.
I've had some good success with their cutters, but I can't tell you. I think I went through like 5 of their lighters before I just was like, okay, moving on.
Yeah, I mean, a cutter. What are the moving parts? As long as you have a good blade,
Hmm.
that's it.
But yeah, I guess I would agree with that. The Zycar. Hey, John, we've had this conversation about lighters, and it's like, how come no one just makes a good, reliable lighter?
Well,
And-
We have had this discussion. I brought it up on the show before, and I can't remember who we had on the show, but I think it might have been somebody that had something to do with accessories. And I was like, why don't you guys just make something that works? And the best one for me has been that Vertigo, the one with like the little tank below. That seems to work the most consistently for me. But that's another reason people ask, like, oh, you just use a Bic lighter, you just use a Jeep, and I'm like, I'm tired. I light 5 or 6 cigars a day. At the end of the day, I'm tired of them not working. So yeah, I use a Bic and I use a Jeep because I can fly with it. And guess what? It works all the time. And when I lose it, I'm not upset.
It's
Yeah, and they do make ones that work. This is the Tatuaje Bride by LE Blue. It's about $400.
Yeah.
And it works every time. It's absolutely flawless.
Mhm.
And then when I fly, I take a Bic, but I also take this Soto. So what this does is it comes apart. It's got a refillable Bic cricket in it, so it turns it into a torch. So
I've seen that. That's an excellent one. And there's another lighter out there. I can't remember who makes it, but it has the little cartridges that you put in the CO2,
Yeah.
not the CO2,
Bugatti.
the butane cartridge.
Yeah, Bugatti.
Yeah,
Bugatti.
that's actually an excellent lighter.
I had a couple of those, and I had a lot of issues with them, and I ended up giving up on them.
You're not the first person to say that. They've
Yeah.
had a lot of issues with the Bugattis.
And
Interesting.
one of the retailers around here, I remember, I think it was after the last trade show, it was the last PCA, not last year because it didn't happen, but 2019. And he came back and he had these lighters. I won't say who it is, but he had all these lighters, and he was like, "Oh, he's like, Chuck, we're bringing these in. These are badass." And I was like, "Ooh," I'm like, "I want one of those. This is cool." And it was the one with the two jets flip out, and
Yeah.
it had the tank in the bottom. I was like, "Oh, I need one of those. That was sick." And I got one, and in the first week, it just was junk, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And it needed a new, like, it has a replacement head on it, and I had to
Yeah.
I had to replace that the first week. I'm like, maybe it's a fluke. And then after that, I was having gas leakage, and then one was burning, and the other one was just kind of like half-assed there, and I'm like, what's going on here? And they replaced it twice, and I said, you know what? I just can you credit me into a different lighter? And I ended up just going with the DuPont MaxiJet, because I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. It's a cool lighter. I loved it. I just wish it didn't wear down as much as it did. I couldn't. I mean, I gave it so many chances. I was like, I'm sorry. It's a cool lighter. I want to love it, but it just doesn't work. So what's the point? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So, But yeah, I mean, I guess that's our spiel on lighters. So Kevin, I have another question for you. Another
I actually
random.
I got a funny story. I do have a funny story
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
about lighters. So I was sitting with Cigar and some other customers at the TAA probably 4 years ago. And this was before they sold to Quality. So that would have been like 4 years ago. And I'm sitting there with a retailer, and the representative from slash owner from Zycar said to the retailer, "Hey, you haven't ordered any lighters yet." And at this time, I'd had a few drinks. We're sitting there at dinner, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I haven't had a chance to come by yet," and this and that. And so I said to them, actually just waiting for your salesperson to come by and pick up all the damaged ones and replace those prior to them placing an order for your new products this year. They were pissed at the situation. And they looked at me, they're like, oh, I go, that's when I brought up, I was like, but seriously, I'm like, why do they break all the time? And they didn't really have an answer for me. So I was a little bit taken back at that, but I brought it up at a dinner right in front of them, and nobody had an answer. So you know what? To each their own. If it sucks, you deserve it. So fine.
Oh, Jesus.
However, their cutters are excellent. Their cutters are
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Their cutters are fantastic.
Yeah, I'm looking at 50 of them. Yeah.
So Kevin, what would you say is your most unusual talent? Maybe people don't even know this, but what is your most unusual talent that you have?
Well, up until recently, I kind of kept it a secret, but some people kind of found my other YouTube channel that I started years ago. I knit.
I didn't even know that.
I make scarves. Yeah, I knit. At one time, this is probably going back, God, easily 15 years ago. Like what I would be now in the cigar industry, I was in the knitting community. Like I was kind of like the guy.
Can you just picture Kevin? Like, look at the way he. Not that you are a bad looking dude, but like, look at him, right? And I just picture him in a knitting circle with some old women being like, "Man, you guys shoot this new yarn yet? Oh, it's just shits the balls." Knitting a sweater.
So yeah, that was back. I had no beard. no facial hair at all. And yeah, and so you can still find some of my knitting videos on online. So yeah, I
What's the
knit.
coolest? What's the coolest thing you ever knitted?
Um, I don't really knit anything cool, like practical stuff, beanies, which I haven't done, but I love making scarves. I love coming up with new patterns for scarves, trying to figure out some things that people said can't be done, so I try and figure out a new
Hmm.
pattern to get it done. But yeah, I like making like ungodly long scarves. Like 7, 8 feet long, for just and we never wear them in Florida.
That's crazy. That's so interesting. I'll have to. We'll have to talk to you after. I might have you make me my own unique scarf, and I can say that you made it for me. That'd be cool. That's like that's been on my list lately. Like, and I meet people who do things, like other than cigars or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, yeah, I want you to make me something because it'll be like my collection of like stuff that people have made from the cigar industry. Um, like even like Matt Booth, I said, Matt, I want you to make me a custom piece of jewelry, and he was like, consider it done, dog. So I have
Yeah,
the,
yeah, he's working on something for me now.
it's
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 yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
What would you say has been the how do
Wait
I
a minute,
want to?
you guys don't get to answer that same question?
Oh, oh,
Yeah,
look at him spinning it around.
I gotta know this.
Oh boy. John, you go first because
This is somewhat known. I mean, most of my non-cigar hobbies are out on display with my cooking and whatnot. But I guess my hidden talent, I'm a very good jump roper, and I can still dunk a basketball.
you
Okay,
can,
who cares about the basketball? You're no, I'm just joking, but a jump roper? What?
Yeah,
That,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'm a very good jump roper. I was it was one of my fun little workouts I did growing up,
Yeah.
and I'm still pretty decent. I don't do it as much as I used to, but yeah, if you give me a jump rope, I can go at it.
That's pretty awesome. You're a pretty big guy. I imagine like using like ship rope, just
Well, it's funny because I do have a specific kind of rope that I like.
okay.
I like they have these thicker rubber ones that I use that I like, and like the real thin ones that are like competitive jump roping ones. I'm not very good at those, but the heavier ropes is what the ones that I enjoy. But I have a very specific style of rope I enjoy.
so I would say mine is going to be the fact that I am very good with trivia. Um, specifically music and movies, and then specifically with movies, the lines from the movies.
Okay.
Very, very good at that. People are often surprised how well I can precisely, what's the word I'm looking for? Not reenact, like, just, why, oh man, recant, is that the word? No, I don't know.
All right, well, here's you go. Let's put this on display. Let's see. What are the dying words of Charles Foster Kane in Citizen Kane?
It's Rosebud, isn't it?
Nice.
Yeah,
Well done.
yeah.
Yeah. Well done.
Well
Okay,
done.
all right. You want to
Well
talk? All right,
done.
all right. You want to talk the final words? Let's see if you guys know this one. Who said the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one?
God, I've heard it, but I don't have a I think everybody knows that line, but I don't have a clue.
Your dad would know. You can Nicole. All right, so, but before I give it away, so Nicole's dad would know, and the reason why is because he's a huge Trekkie, because it was said those were the dying words of Mr. Spock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So as soon as she said it, she knew.
What about Napoleon Dynamite the other day? You guys were going back and forth for like.
Oh yeah, me and her dad, like we were talking about Napoleon Dynamite came up at the table. I mean, I feel like a lot of people can do that one. That was a pretty hit movie back in the day. But yeah, I mean, we were literally going like on the script from like the
Yeah.
beginning until like 10 minutes into the movie. It was hilarious. And then he went upstairs and was watching it, and I was like, "Are you really watching this?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then we started going with it with the movie too. Yeah, so that I would say That's my secret thing. A lot of times I'll pull a quote out of a movie and I'll say it, and then everyone looks at me funny, and I'm like, really? Guys don't remember Fight
Yeah.
Club? Like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
That's impressive. Hey, you nailed Citizen Kane. So I don't need to prove anything here. But what color pill does Neo take in the Matrix? Red or blue?
Come on, man. It's the red pill.
Nice.
Come on. You take the blue pill. You wake up tomorrow like nothing had ever happened. You take the red pill, and I show you just how far the rabbit hole goes.
Yeah, it's sad he's not in the next one coming up, Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah.
It
Hmm.
sucks.
I shared a cigar with him in New York City.
Oh,
Did
get
you?
out.
Yeah, it was when he was on. It was right before he was on the cover of Cigar Aficionado, and he did me a huge solid because I was with some really loud, obnoxious guys from Staten Island, and we were up at the Grand Havana Room, and they're all like, "Oh, that's Samuel L. Jackson." They were saying it loud. He was being an asshole. So I went over to him and I said, "Hey, I wanted to give you a cigar. Sorry, these are guys that I just happened to be with today. I'm not really close to them. I just wanted to, apologize for being loud." So I gave him a factory press, and he looked at me. He goes, "You know what, man?" He goes, "Thank you so much." He's like, "I appreciate that." And we talked for a few minutes, and he lit up the cigar. Anyway, he did me such a huge solid. So he walks out, and the guys are like, "Hey, who was that?" I go, "It's Lawrence Fishburne, guys." I'm like, "You'd be quiet." So on the way out, he walks by and stops right in front of the group of people that we're sitting with, and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "I wanted to appreciate you, John." He's like, "For giving me that cigar." He's like, "It was great to see you again." He's like, "The next time you're in town," he goes, "make sure we connect up." And he walks off, and they're all like, "You knew that guy? You
Oh my
know him?" It was so great, man.
Oh,
It was
how
so
awesome
cool.
is that? How
Oh,
awesome.
it was so cool. So cool.
Yeah, I love stories like that. That's hilarious. But yeah, that's cool. He seems like the kind of dude you'd want to have a cigar with.
Yeah.
Kevin, if you could have a cigar with any celebrity, who would it be? I guess we're here, so might as well ask.
God, any celebrity, is that one of those living or dead?
Uh,
But yeah,
I guess we could do. I mean, yeah,
yeah.
sure.
I,
I
I
mean,
don't, it's I'm still, I love every time I sit, honestly, and this from the bottom of my heart, every time I sit down with Steve over at Dunbarton. I mean, he's such a, I mean, for me, he's like the biggest celebrity there is, and he's so kind and generous, and he's got so many great stories, and his time is so limited, so every time I get a chance to hang out with him, just a great cigar, just a great guy. So
yeah.
I've had a dozen cigars with him, and he'd be the guy that I'd still want to have, another cigar with.
Yeah, I mean, John, you've rubbed elbows with some pretty cool people too. I mean, I know you've hung out with Cam Newton from the New England Patriots, our starting quarterback.
Oh, have you been to his lounge in Atlanta?
Yeah, several times, several times. Yeah,
How is it? Is
Cam's
it
a
is
great
it
guy.
nice?
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, it spared no expense. It's private club slash public at the same time. They got a restaurant there. It's a really cool spot to relax and hang out. It's a great vibe, and he's a big supporter of premium cigars publicly.
Oh
There's a
yeah.
lot of celebrities that are big cigar smokers but don't make it as public. And Cam, almost every day he's smoking a cigar on the way to work or after, and he really promotes the culture. And he started his own cigar show there that was on BET, which was which was pretty cool. So yeah, I think as a cigar smoking celebrity, it's really part of his lifestyle, which is unique. But for me, I would love to have a cigar with Michael Jordan. He's just a legendary celebrity cigar smoker.
I second that.
Yeah.
I know you feel the same way, and I love basketball, so it'd be fun to talk basketball with him, and just the game. So I would enjoy that as a cigar smoking celebrity, living. That would be, it'd be nice to sit down with him. Like I watched the interview with Marvin Shankin and him, and
Oh
Jordan
yeah.
sitting down with a cigar.
Man.
It's like Jordan was more normal, I think, than Marvin was in that. You know what I mean? Like I watched Jordan, and I'm like, I want to sit down with Michael and have the conversation Marvin's having with him right now, without a camera, because it would be a freaking blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just see him when he had a cigar in his hand, he was relaxed and just felt normal.
Yeah.
Guy,
Charles Barkley would be basketball. I'd want to go the other route. Yeah.
I
Yeah, he's awesome too. I've run into him a couple times.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, he's one of those guys, man, that if you're polite and not rude, if like I just when I met him the first time, I just walked up and started talking to him, because he was having a conversation about basketball with somebody else in the line getting on an airplane. And we stood there for like 5 minutes and I was like, hey, man, I totally agree with your point on it. He was talking about Lonzo Ball and how the way his game is. And so we sat there critiqued. I just walked up and he was like, no problem. He just got involved in the conversation. So he's a pretty approachable guy, and he manages himself well. So I would agree with that. I think he'd be fun to sit down with and have a cigar with. He's a cigar smoker too, which is great.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Guys, I wanted to hit our news really quickly. As I watched the timing on our show, and our news segment is brought to you by McAuliffe Cigars. McAuliffe Cigars, become an ambassador today. Head over to McAuliffeCigars.com and sign up to be an ambassador. You can get your official ambassador coin, and you can get your tasting passport from McAuliffe. You smoke all the McAuliffe cigars, and you submit your tasting passport back in, and you can be entered into winning some pretty cool stuff from McAuliffe. So I guess the elephant in the room here is this is a pretty appropriate show to do this. It was announced this week. La Flor Dominicana, I don't know if you guys have heard of them. They are not exhibiting at PCA 2021. Oh, John, I didn't know you were here. I'm sorry. Maybe you could.
So it was less of an announcement. There was really no announcement. We're not, we weren't trying to prove a point by any means. Like we're not going to, last year you had I guess it's been dubbed the Big Four. Did a big press release and things like. So how this came about as a story was we've been talking actively, and I've mentioned it on shows and things before when people have asked that we're not going because we're focusing our efforts and all of our resources towards getting caught up. We've been getting our butts kicked the last year in regards to demand and product availability. Fortunately, we've had a very good year, but we had 8 salespeople last year, and then we were down to 2 through some transitions that we had during COVID when our factory was closed, and we still really haven't. We just got back to full capacity this week, and that product you really won't see that product on shelves for a month or 2 at least. So the trade show, we had nothing to display. We're not doing any new products because we're staying focused on the current lines and getting caught back up. We don't run any trade show specials because of the demand side on it. So there was really no agenda behind it, and how the story. I'm surprised the story happened because the Half Wheel ran a story on it, and there was another list where other people's names were just listed out. So we got we got a story, and everybody else got a list. And as I said, there was no agenda, there was no official time frame on it. It was up in the air. If we were going to attend, it would be in a very significantly different capacity. But the main thing is we weren't trying to prove a point, and we also didn't make any type of official announcement. I was simply asked, "Are you going to be at the show?" And my response was no. And then it turned into a 2-paragraph, headline.
Now, did you exhibit at TPE?
No, we don't.
Okay.
We don't participate in the TPE either. So said for us, we support the industry. We're very big supporters and founders of CRA. We support the PCA. Do we think there's some things that need to adjust and change? Absolutely, in regards to the show. That we'd like things to continue to get better. We'd like it to cost less, and there's things like that. But no, we weren't making a statement because trust me, if we were making a statement, I would have made a statement. I would have put out a press release and we would have gone on and made an official thing. But no, so a story ran on it, and I had people ask questions, and the real reason behind the decision was we're just focusing on production and putting our resources towards that. And I just hired 2 new sales managers this week. I have 2 more starting next month, which would be right around the trade show time. So it was just a challenging year to try to commit to something like that, and we had to make a decision of where we were going to put our efforts. And unfortunately, I think for some people they'll look at it and saying, "Oh, LFD is not participating in this, not supporting that." We 100% are supporting it. We are more than behind the industry, and the best way for us to support our retailers and have them be successful is to get them more cigars. And if you take Lito out of the factory for 2 weeks, and take Tony out of the factory for 2 weeks, take us off the road for 2 weeks for the PCA show, and then focus on specials and new orders, we really need to focus on the products that we already have and need to maintain our level of production now that we're back at full scale. So yeah, there's no statement. There was no point trying to be made. We're not trying to grind anyone's gears. We'll probably be a PCA next year. I would say it would be highly likely, unless something crazy happens with that organization. And I encourage people to go. go get out, go do something, go to the show. It's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of people there. It'll be a little bit of a smaller footprint, I think, in terms of the amount of manufacturers that are there, because obviously there's a good amount of number that aren't. But that's a great time for you to hit up some relationships. If I was a retailer, this will give you an opportunity to spend some more time with some of the brands that are there, and reward them, say thank you for being there. At the same time, and I think it's a great opportunity, and it should be a good year. We just won't be part of it because of the focus that we need to make on our production levels.
Now, do you think that like maybe moving it out of Vegas would help? Like it just because it used to be the RTDA, that they would move it around, which would nice. Vegas is expensive. Matt, I don't know what you guys are paying to get out there, but Jessica and I looked at it last year before they canceled it. And man, I said, if you want to do like a cool little family vacation, maybe do a 5 or 6 day out there, airline, hotel. I mean, you could be 5-6 grand,
Easy.
just for for a couple people. Then I can't, and then I hear these manufacturers like Saka and everybody else, 50,
Uh-oh.
60, 70, 80 grand, to go out there and exhibit, and maybe
if you
moving
think
it to Orlando or something.
I mean, if you think it's expensive for an individual, I mean, you should see what it is on a company level. I mean, it's out of control, and we're not even one of the largest. We don't have one of the largest booths there. We try to be as price conscious as possible, but still have a great representation. Yeah, it's absolutely out of control, expensive. It doesn't need to be as expensive as it is. My big words that have always been is we have a stadium show for an arena crowd, for an arena business, and it's just too big. If you go to the National Restaurant Association show, which I used to go to growing up, I grew up in the restaurant business. Coca-Cola doesn't have a booth that's the size of some of the booths at the PCA show, and I'll use one as example. I mean, Drew Estate used to put up a bridge.
Yeah.
That like how do we get to a part as an association? How did that show get to a point where Drew Estate was comfortable putting up bridges and these massive things? Now it looks cool. But that's just not a cost-effective situation to continue on that way. And then, then they pull out and say, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. And it really changes the way it is. But listen, I have nothing negative to say about the organization. The only things I have negative about the PCA is the show. I think the show needs to be more relevant. And to make it more relevant, it needs to be more cost-effective. And, in the conversation of every year, it seems in the last 5 years, the attendance has either been flat or decreased. So obviously the argument that it needs to be in Vegas, I don't think it has to be. And even if you have a smaller show, say there's a smaller attendance, but it's more a quality, and then people have less, have more fun because they spend less, on the actual getting down there. Like the shows are just as successful no matter where they're at for the manufacturers. I'll be truly honest. They have salespeople. I have salespeople, so we make the show successful. So if it's already successful no matter what, and we just had our best year ever without a show last year, everybody, maybe we need to make the show a little bit more affordable for the consumer that's coming down. Sorry, for the retailer that's coming down, and for the manufacturer, and then you'll have more people involved, because the business for the manufacturer is always going to be there. We're always going to find it one way or the other. The one negative is some of the smaller manufacturers that are there, like a guy like Steve. If there's less people at the show and he's trying to open new accounts, why would he, what benefit does he get from being there? Not much if there's less attendance, because he needs to see more people. The teams and the companies that have teams out on the road, they're going to make the business happen. So let's make this more affordable. Let's pick some other spots. Vegas, I don't think, is the solution. But we'll see where it goes this year. And hopefully, they have that. They were locked in on Vegas. And I think Vegas was the easiest to do this year just because of smoking things outside of maybe doing Miami. But they already had the cogs and the wheel churning for that. So we'll see where it goes. But again, we're not trying to make a point. There was no, we didn't make some public statement to have a story out there. Half will decide to run a story on it, and yeah, good for them. And that is what it is.
So before we get to our probably our favorite segment of the show, Kevin, another question for you. Shot out of a cannon. Let's see where you lay on this. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Yes or no, and why?
You've been watching Shirtless Mike? He asked Booth that question a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, well,
yeah. That's a great. And when I heard that, I'm like, wait, what? No, hot dog. you have to have two slices of bread, top and bottom. Everything's got to fit inside of it. If any part of it, it's like asking if like an open faced, like Reuben, open faced beef sandwich, is that a sandwich? No, it's an open face. Then again, they do call that an open faced sandwich. So there goes
See,
my.
it gets you thinking. That's the point.
Yeah, you just contradicted yourself.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just contradicted myself right there. So no, a hot dog is a hot dog.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah.
That was interesting. John, would you say the same, or would you disagree?
I'm going to go with Kevin on this. I think it's its own classification. Like
Yeah.
it's a hot dog. Like a hot dog, maybe it's a variety of sandwich, but that might be its genus, but its species is hot dog.
Yeah. Now, where you guys are at and where you guys grew up, what is the condiments on a hot dog? Because Jessica is like Jersey, so like you eat like a plain hot dog. Like maybe you put mustard on it, but then if you put anything else on it, she'll murder you. What is your hot dog condiments in your regions?
Me, it's
So
just.
for
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you go first.
yeah, no, I was gonna say up here in Maine, I think a lot of people just just a plain hot dog with mustard, but that's not what I prefer. I like mustard, relish, ketchup, and onions.
Yeah.
But I do know a lot of places where a hot dog just gets mustard.
Yeah.
I would say I'm just ketchup and mustard, and then but I know like in Chicago, isn't it just like onions and relish?
No, Chicago is everything but the hot dog. Sometimes you don't even know the hot dog's on there. They like the like a full size pickle, coleslaw. Chicago they put it's like their ridiculous dumb pizza. They don't know how to eat in Chicago.
Deep dish pizza.
So yeah.
Is
So,
deep dish
yeah.
pizza pizza? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying it's not pizza?
No,
That's pie. It's
yeah,
pie.
yeah, it's pie. You ever
pie.
can you pick up one and fold it and then eat? No, that's the definition of pizza. If you can reach into a box, pull a slice out, fold it in half, and then eat it as you're talking with somebody, waving it about, that's pizza.
You don't need a fork to eat it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's like the same thing where it's like the genus may be pizza, but its species is pie. And maybe
Yeah.
those two things are the same thing. But that's the way I look at like the Chicago style deep dish pizza. For me, is more like a pie than it
Yeah.
is pizza.
More like a cobbler. Like a cobbler.
A pizza
than it is a
cobbler.
pie. Yeah.
Yeah,
It is good. I like it, but I mean I guess I could see that. I mean, you got Sicilian pizza, you got Greek pizza, you got pan pizza, you got flatbread pizza, you got thin crust pizza, and then you got which are all kind of similar and the same. They can work that way, but then you get the deep dish, and it's like
Yeah.
it's heavy. That's a lot to do.
It is.
So John, do we have are you ready to do your soap review?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it,
so
man.
Today, here we go. Soap review. We've got the Outlaw Soap Company. Every single Outlaw Soap comes with a little tiny chicken figurine. I don't have the chicken figurine with me, but I have like 100 of them. But here we go. This is one of their sample sizes. So they send this anytime you get soap. So this isn't officially have all the colors and all the designs to it. But here we go. Outlaw Soap. So this is just a standard color soap. This is their sample. So we'll be rating based off of the performance of the soap on the hands. We won't really be looking at the colors of it, the design. But this is a craft soap.
Is that regional to you?
No, this is based out of, I believe they're based out of Nevada. Yeah, Nevada. Yeah, Sparks, Nevada. Outlaw Soap. 716 Spice Islands Drive, Sparks, Nevada. Outlaw Soaps. So this is the Outlaw Hideout. Sorry, Mountain Hideout. I'll tell you, I've had about 6 bars of these soaps up in my room here, and they work great as like an air freshener. It's just beautiful. It smells glorious in there. So here we go. Just regular bar soap today. This is their standard samples. Comes with there, so none of those special designs. So here we go. Outlaw Soaps, Mountain Hideout. I've got chlorinated water here from the pool today. So we got chlorinated water. This is at about 84 degrees. That's what the pool's up to. As you know, I like to wet my hands here. I like to wet the soap. Here we go. We're going to get some lather going. The one thing I'm going to tell you with this sample soap, the lather is significantly different. And just if anyone is concerned, I did bathe this past week with the Dr. Squatch Mars bar. That's the medium grit. It was excellent in the shower. It was my soap of choice this week in the shower. So not quite as much lather as the Dr. Squatch. Not as many bubbles, but the bubbles are really tiny. So I do enjoy this. It's been a while since I've had an Outlaw soap. I'd say the scent, man, the pre-scent on this one was probably a 6 out of 10 on strength. On the hands is probably about a 5 out of 10. Now that's a good thing. I don't want my hands to smell just like the soap when I'm done with it. I don't want too much fragrance. Not very greasy. This is essential oils. You can tell craft soaps. Not a lot of that glycerin. So here we go. Let's wash off here. I'm trying not to get the computer destroyed. I don't have a towel handy, so I'm gonna have to get some paper towels over here. All right, so the scent's gone off the hands. It does feel refreshing. One thing I think that's causing an issue here with this is with the scent on the hands is I did use chlorine, so I'm smelling a lot of chlorine from the water I have here. So that was a really good idea. On hindsight, it was a bad idea.
Now
so
the review is
sorry,
going to be
Outlaw.
inaccurate because now it's gonna impede on the scent factor.
It does feel very clean. I do like it. It's not the strongest scent I've had for them. Fire in the Hole is the one that I've enjoyed the most. So I do like that it said Outlaw right on the soap, though. So you can tell they put some effort into that. Man, I'm going to go 6-1. 6-1 on the Mountain Hideout. 6-1. I do really like their soaps, but the thing that's getting me with the Dr. Squatch is the different grit levels. And I'm really enjoying the grittiness from those. So I still have a few more Outlaw soaps to try. I am on their members club there, their monthly soap club. So we'll have some more Outlaw soaps this summer. But 6-1 on the Mountain Hideout. But really clean on your hands. This is a bar soap that I put out for when I had guests coming over. If I didn't want them to use my higher end soaps, this would be something nice, special. It would give them a little bit of a treat. So anything over 5 to me is a good soap, Kevin. So anything over 5 is good. It's usable. Anything below 5 is trash. So yeah, 6-1 Mountain Hideout Outlaw.
So a couple of things. I don't want to dwell on it too much because I know we're kind of running out of time. Well, no, we have time, but
We got plenty of time.
we got plenty of time. But so John, a couple of things. I don't feel like that was an accurate soap review, and I'm going to tell you why. I think the chlorine water played a huge role in that for 2 reasons. One, that chlorine smell, I think, could have hindered the scent of the soap. And number 2, because of that chlorine, how do we know that the chlorine in the water didn't have any kind of impact on how clean the soap made your hands? How do we know?
Are you trying to say there's urine in my pool?
No.
No. I was wondering about the pH of the water because sometimes I say the pH will affect how much it lathers and how much soap you get. So versus just a standard water that may be coming through the faucets versus something that has been chemically altered.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
So I will say there's a couple things here. The pH level in my pool's pretty perfect because we test it every day. The water coming out of my faucet is hard water, and it has a very high iron content because we have a well, high sulfur content to it. So I think we're probably with the water in the pool, the biggest concern we should have is the chlorine. The chlorine's the biggest concern, I think. In terms of the actual water itself, the water's been treated. It has its pH level of it's very perfect. So when you get out of that pool, you don't feel itchy. You don't feel anything like that on your skin. So I think probably the biggest thing we should be concerned about is the chlorine. And I think that did have an impact on I don't think on the scent because it wasn't a very strong scent on the soap anyway. But I think it probably had an impact on the way the lather happened because that is going to be a chemical interaction with whatever chemicals are in the soap and whatever was in the water. So I think that chlorine probably did impact the lather.
Interesting.
But it was a good lather. I liked it. I liked the lather, to be honest. It wasn't very sudsy in terms of like big bubbles. I don't like big bubbles. I like the little ones because, in my opinion, I don't know if this is true, but the smaller the bubbles, I feel like it's doing more work.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm not a soap expert like yourself, so I really can't comment on that.
I'm gonna have to send you some soap here locally. We have a very very large just mom and pop company, Lola Blue, which makes some fantastic soaps, sends them all over the world, and some of our favorite soaps and skincare products, come from Lola Blue. So next time I'm over there picking up some the body frosting, I don't know what it is. Jessica just say, hey, when you're over there, pick me up some frosting. I still have never seen her use it. I don't know where it goes. I don't know. But yeah, so I'll have to pick you up some
Is
soaps.
that a liquid soap or is it
Happy to
a?
review.
They do all bars, so they'll have you walk into their little, their manufacturing facility, and then they have like a small retail up front, and they probably got 500 different soaps.
Wow, interesting.
So to give you a heads up, I actually today had one of our listeners of the show reach out to me via Facebook. I won't give the last name, but I will give his first name here. But this gentleman is a listener and viewer of the show, and of course my Facebook's not popping out right now. But my friend Daniel, thank you Daniel if you're watching. Daniel reached out to me, and this was his message. He said, so I picked up an entire bundle of the Dr. Squatch soaps today, thanks to your videos. He goes, I couldn't decide on one, so I got one of each. This is exactly what I did. He goes, I thought I'd let you know. And I said, awesome. I go, that's how I got started with the soaps. Some are winners, some are major winners, not real losers. Let me know what you think. So then he messaged me back about probably 30, 40 minutes later. He's like, I'm debating on ordering the limited edition stuff they have. He goes, have no idea if I'll like any of them. Have you had any of these? So he picked up I told him to pick up the Area 51 brick that we've used, and I told him the Mars bar and the Moon Rock. So he picked up, I believe he's picked those up, and the Mars bar was the one that we reviewed last week. So Dr. Squatch, people are listening and enjoying the soap. So yeah, we'd be happy to try out that soap from Florida and and send some business their way.
Yeah, and I know that it's region or limited certain times a year, but they do beers. So they got one that actually made with Guinness. They've got another one made with Corona, and then they have
Ooh,
a Blue Moon, which is a citrus as well. And they actually make the soaps with the beers, and they're fantastic. And then they have all the lavender, citrus, whatever, all the other stuff. But they do carry like a manly line, I guess is what you'd call it. So
hmm. John, you're gonna have to get in on that. I'd be curious to see what you have to
yeah.
say.
Yeah, that sounds. By the way, all those three beers sound a whole lot better than the ones I bought from Duke Cannon that just arrived last week. The beer infused one I have is infused with Budweiser.
Oh,
Budhead.
God, that's whoa. I can't stand open. When someone cracks a can of
Mm-hmm.
Budweiser 15 feet from me, I go, what the hell is that smell?
Mm-hmm.
So
So yeah,
Kevin,
we got Bud Heavy. We got a Bud Heavy review coming up shortly. So there you are. That's the soap.
Kevin, I wanted to ask you at least one topic-related question tonight. But I didn't want to fire out of the cannon with it. I wanted to wait, and I wanted to do some other fun questions first. But for everyone listening at home or watching at home, what have you, uh, how exactly did Cigar Prop start? Where did you? At what point did you get into uh, making cigar props and all of that? And you know, kind of everything else that followed after that.
well, I was, same story I've told before, but I was actually in my garage in turning down some bushings on my little metal lathe, because sometimes you need a washer or a bushing that Home Depot doesn't carry. So luckily I have enough equipment and enough knowledge. I just make my own. So I'm smoking and then setting the cigar down. It's rolling around. I finished the project I was working on and had some extra stock, in the lathe, turned it down, made kind of a cool little design, took it over to my drill press, chalked up an end mill, if anybody knows what that is, put a little groove in it, and then just used it, and a couple of my friends saw it at the lounge. They're like, oh, hey, that's pretty cool. Can you make me one? So I made a couple for the guys at the lounge, and I was dating Jess. We had just started dating at the time, and she saw it, and she's like, you should probably sell these. And I'm like, just, I'm really, because I also own a beard company as well. I manufacture leave-in beard conditioners for men, and so that was really the big part of my business. So I'm like, what the hell? So I just started selling them, putting them online. There really was nothing available, online. So really started selling them, and probably a couple months go by, and I'm like, all right, maybe I'll try like the YouTube thing, doing some cigar reviews. That seems like the thing, and then I can push people to buy my product, and really just started doing cigar reviews. And the business took off, and and as John will tell you, like I said, your best salespeople are the people online, are in the Facebook groups. When someone says, hey, I haven't, I'm looking at LFD, on a cigar, which one should I try? And everybody chimes in, oh, we love LFD. You should try this one. You should try this one. And people go out and buy that cigar. Same thing happened for me. Someone's like, hey, I'm looking for a cigar rest. Then after a while, you sell enough, and people are like, oh, hey, Kevin has a company, Cigar Prop. It just, you should go check him out. And I tried to always be active in the forums. For there's been a lot of cigar accessory people that have come and gone because, and you guys have seen them in the forums, in these groups. They come in, they promote their product, and that's it. They don't post, they don't interact. They just, hey, this is my new product for the day, my ashtray, buy it, and then that's it. So I dedicated myself to a year of not pushing my product at all. I was just in the groups, smoking a cigar, hey, check this out, and then answering questions. People like, hey, what about this cigar? I'd be like, hey, I smoked it, I liked it, I've done a review on it, if that'll help you. And then someone would say, hey, I'm looking for a cigar rest. I'd be like, hey, I make cigar rest, so you should check out my website. I was never out there, whoring myself out, just pushing my product. And that just slowly morphed into what I don't even, sometimes I don't even know. I don't even know how the hell I'm sitting here today. Sometimes it's just like, I remember sitting down with Drew Estate at a barn smoker and like talking about, maybe doing a show, and they wanted to be involved in it. And then, talking with Jeff at Corona, and, he wanted to be involved in it, and it just exploded, just out of the blue. And, I'm one of the lucky few, I guess. I guess just being in the right place at the right time. But it really all started with me in my garage. Just my cigar rolling around on the damn workbench, annoying me. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, you've definitely you've come a long way. As I followed you for a long time, and you know, I would say that I think there's a few people who I mean, maybe I'll just ask you this question instead. Would you say, or maybe what would you say, is the most misunderstood thing about you?
Um, I I don't think that there is. A lot of people say I'm an asshole. I don't know if we can cuss on the show.
You can, you can.
A lot of people think that I'm an asshole, and I kind of am.
That's
So
okay.
some people will say, oh, that's Kevin. He's a great guy. No, those are the people that miss. I'm kind of a jerk. Sometimes it's it is what it is. It's when you're confident, when you do good, when you have a good business, a good company, a good work ethic, you can be a little cocky, I guess. But I don't think I'm misunderstood, but I think most people get me. There are people out there that don't like me, in the cigar media side, and I've had this discussion kind of with some other people. There are people that think I shouldn't be in the cigar media. They don't think someone like myself is qualified to be in the upper echelon of giving advice to people in the cigar industry, and that hurts a little bit, when I hear that, and then or when they actually say it live on an air, and I screenshot it and I save it in my computer just to let everybody know that. But yeah,
And cry yourself to sleep at night.
yeah, and I hang on to that because in a couple of years, I'll be like, haha, look at me now. But
That's like what Tom
but
Brady
yeah,
does.
yeah, oh yeah, exactly, yeah. As he's showing his rings, he's like, yeah, I don't know what to do
You
with
remember when
all
you
of.
guys laughed at me and you said I couldn't
Yeah, I
run?
know.
Look at
Yeah, yeah,
me.
exactly.
He's gonna
So
have 10. He's gonna have 10 cigar prop holders in his
yeah,
hand. Oh, look at me now.
exactly. So yes, I don't think I'm generous with my time. I help out so many cigar review channels because I remember being starting out. There wasn't as many cigar review channels as there are now, and I had nobody to look out to or reach out to. Like, and it was scary. I had all these questions, and nobody to help me, and I had to learn and make my way, and I had to pay for these online classes for SEO and classes on learning hashtags and everything else, and so I definitely love giving that knowledge out. So those are the people that know the real Kevin, and they know that I'm really not a jerk, and I think I belong in this industry. I don't know. I've carved out my own little niche, and I like it over here.
Teach their own. I mean, if you're dedicated to it and you love it and you're always putting everything you got into it, we can go anywhere. Doesn't really matter what anyone else tells you. I think we've all been there at some point or another. But you just keep rolling with it. So you know what, Kevin, you do you. That's it.
That's it.
Just do you.
Yeah, and the people that tell me that I don't know what I'm doing, I always turn off to the side and I show my Smokin Championship belt from the Battle of the Bands, and went up against the best of the best in the cigar world, and crushed it. So I think that stands for something. There's sometimes I'm sitting at my computer, and and sometimes I second guess myself, and I look over and I see that belt, and I'm like, that's it's that's a
It's a big
good
deal.
thing.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. So, but yeah, I'm actually a pretty good guy.
You're all right.
Yeah, that's it. I'm all right. I got my good days and my bad days. Luckily, Jessica keeps me in check. Having a good woman by your side, that helps.
I would say the same thing about Smoking Nicole. She definitely
Yeah.
keeps me in check. So it's important to have. You need them. They can be difficult sometimes, but that's why they're here. That's why they're here, and I'm sure John could agree with me. Um, you know, you got Allie by your side now. Can I say that? Can I say her name?
Yeah.
She's a lady. She's a lady friend.
The lady
Okay.
friend.
Yeah, a
Sorry.
lady friend. He has a lady friend by
He has
his
a
side.
he has a lady friend. Who keeps him in check, which is good. We all need that. Guys, we got to hit our sports segment really quickly, and then we're going to wrap up our show. Our sports segment is brought to you by Nova Cigar. Hashtag Make Nova Big. If you head over to novacigars.com, and you can use our discount code SMKTAB15 to save 15% off of your order at novacigar.com. John, so I would say first we'll hit this out of the way. We'll kind of quick on this one. Bruins in the playoffs. Hasn't gone so well the last couple of games. They're on again tonight. At the risk of elimination after a horrible Game 5 in the Garden. Bruce Cassidy has been fined, I think it was $25,000 for his comments against the referees in that last game. And I think it was specifically due to the fact that he used the phrase the New York Saints for the fact that he felt that the penalties were all on Boston and not on New York, who scored, I want to say it was on 3 power plays, and I think they were consecutive too. 3 power plays. Tuukka Rask was pulled out of the net in the last game. And the Bruins ended up losing that game. I think it was 5-4. So now New York leads the series 3-2. So it's all in for the Bruins right now. I think the game's already started, and I haven't even.
It is. It's tied 1. It's 1-1 at the end of the first.
It is 1-1 at the end of the first. All right. So I mean, Bruins, they got some work to do. They got to force a Game 7, and they got to win 2 in a row to get out of this one alive. It can be done, but it's been a rough series so far. It started out pretty good, but the middle of that series, I'm seeing a lot of what I saw out of their series with the St. Louis Blues in the finals a few years ago. They kind of started pretty good, and then I think St. Louis had figured them out, and they found their weaknesses, and they just attacked them, and then they went right in for it and took that whole series right over from them. Celtics are out of the playoffs now after losing to the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, there's some big stuff going on in the NBA. They just named their MVP. Nikola Jokic from Denver was named the MVP. I think he was picked like the 41st pick in the draft, so he's a second round draft pick when he came to the league. I believe it was 7 years ago. So he's one of the lowest draft picks since like the early 60s to win the MVP. And my team, my pick that I've been rooting for, the Suns, they're playing Denver tonight at 9:30. The Suns beat the Lakers last week and eliminated them, which was awesome. The Suns are really fun to watch. So if you like basketball and you're doing the basketball thing, there's a great game on tonight at 9:30. But I'm rooting for the Suns for the championship this year.
So, without going too deep into the conversation, um, the story in terms of football, there is a saga that has continued to unfold week after week in Green Bay. What's at this point? What is your stance on the situation between Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers?
I think he's going to end up playing there. To be honest, I think he's going to end up playing there. I think they're going to make some concessions. I don't see him getting traded anywhere. OTAs and things are going on right now, team workouts, and we're not too far away from preseason starting.
Right.
So I think he's going to end up playing in Green Bay. He's just being a whiny baby, and he'll get over it. But the biggest thing in football this week was Julio Jones signing with the Tennessee Titans,
Yeah.
which is huge. So now they have two of the top 10 receivers, in my opinion, in the league on their team, the best running back in the league, and they had a quarterback in Tannehill who's been playing great, and then Mike Vrabel's a fantastic coach. I think Tennessee might become, one of the top 5 favorites for the Super Bowl now with the addition of Julio, which was too bad that he didn't come to New England. That's fine, but they got him. They got him on a pretty good deal. They gave up some draft picks, but there was nothing crazy. And giving up draft picks for an actual solid, proven player of his caliber is huge. So Titans are going to be something to watch this year.
One last question on sports before we move on. I want to get your take on this. Do you think that it's time for Atlanta to think about moving on from Matt Ryan?
I felt like it was time several years ago. Ever since the Patriots, ripped their hearts out as a franchise, with that beatdown in the second half of the Super Bowl, they haven't been the same team. And I think it was probably time for them to move on from Matt Ryan about 2 seasons ago, and I think they will have to. So I'll be shocked if they don't go to the next level. That team's got to they got to get rid of everybody that was part of that, because the mentality of that franchise, was destroyed. Their identity they're now identified as a team that just can't win. And they know they can't win too at the same time. So I think it's time to move on. They got to get everybody who was part of that on that team out of there and move on. Yes.
Interesting take. Well, that's our sports segment for the week. I wanted to keep it kind of quick and light. But as we wrap up the show, it's been a fun one. I tried to keep it real. Some fresh questions, some weird questions. Like I said, we're testing some new stuff out. As we ever evolve over here at Smokin Tabacco. Kevin, I want to thank you again for coming on the show and hanging out with us.
You're welcome. I had a blast.
You're a busy guy, so we appreciate you taking the time out. Anything that you want to say or promote, whatever it is, before we close up the show, the floor is yours. Anything you want to say?
I definitely want to appreciate you guys for having me on. It's been a blast. I love doing these. It's so much easier on my end when I'm sitting over here, just answering questions. I know what it's like running a show, spending hours each week, preparing questions, researching your guests. So it's definitely tough. But yeah, no, I don't have anything new going on right now. Starting in maybe I don't know what month is this. So July. So starting in maybe at the end of July, there's gonna be a lot of cool stuff happening. A lot of new products coming out. Working on some collaboration blends with some manufacturers. So you're gonna start seeing those come out later this year. So it'll be super exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be cool. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun second half to this year.
Now, you got any? I know you're a big Monster guy. You and I think, share a deep love for the Monster beverage. Specifically, I think Monster Rehab. I think we both can agree is perhaps one of the best, if not the best, Monster in the line. It's refreshing, it's delicious, and it's non-carbonated, especially on a hot day. Or I like it first thing in the morning because it doesn't feel like I'm drinking a soda when I first wake up, but it starts my day. It's great. What would you say? Last question. What would you say has been aside from like I know you like the rehab a lot, but what would you say has been the most interesting flavor you've tried from Monster? Because I know you're a big Monster guy.
Um,
What's like the one you've
the,
been
the,
most excited about, I guess, that's
you
come
know,
out?
their new strawberry lemonade is really good. I'm really disappointed that they got rid of the pink lemonade.
Yeah.
They discontinued that maybe the last half of or the middle of last year. Kind of sucks, because it wasn't a real strong monster, so it didn't really overpower the cigars. So some of the other monsters, you really got to be particular about what cigar you're going to pair that with.
Yeah.
Because it'll really overpower a cigar pretty quickly. So I just want to try some of the they do have some regional rehabs. From what I've heard, that you can only get in certain parts of the country. Like in Florida, like the strawberry lemonade's everywhere, and then other parts nobody can find it. But then they'll have whatever, like a guava or a mango or something. So I like traveling around and going to cigar lounges and going to gas stations, to try and find which monster rehab that they get that I can't get. So it's always fun.
That's kind of like the orangeade one. Like I don't see it around here, like in gas station. Whatnot. They always have like the regular lemonade. They got the peach tea, and
Yeah.
then they'll have I feel like there's another one that it's eluding me right now. But yeah, I don't see the orange one, but I know I can get it because I can get it like online. Like I buy the cases too, because I keep tons of it in the house. But I know I can get case of it online, so like I have it at home like to drink, but like I don't find it out anywhere. So that's got to be another one of those regional things, and it must be popular somewhere else.
Oh, exactly. And I keep posting my pictures. Maybe one day Monster will reach out, but they're, the whole kid thing, the tobacco thing, they're never going to sponsor me. They're
Oh
never
yeah, no,
just to get some of that billions of dollars, just to get into that company, just on a little bit would be awesome.
I know, right? We're huge advocates for Monster, so I mean, we'll just hey, we'll do our thing. We'll just keep posting it on social media. I don't know. We just won't be
Yeah,
compensated for
I
it.
mean, they have occasionally reached out to me. Like I said, some of like like their like sales reps, like every cigar company has, and some will send me T-shirts and stickers, and every now and then I'll get a case from one of those guys. So like they're regional guys that smoke cigars. They know that I drink Monster, so they'll hook me up with some swag every now and then.
Yeah, I mean that's good. At least you're getting something out of
Yeah.
it. John, anything that you want to promote? Anything you want to
Yeah,
say?
yeah. Thank you, Kevin, for coming on the show. We were really looking forward to having you on, and we appreciate everything that you do. Continued success with that. But thanks for coming on tonight. This has been great. We do have I do have two gourmet smoke sessions coming up in the next few weeks, so I got some pictures here to show. We've got our session on June 23rd. That's with our friends in West End Cigars in Little Rock, Arkansas. We'll be at their Conway location, so that'll be live on LFD Facebook and Hacking Gourmet, and we'll be live in person from the store. And then we also have our July 4th fireworks extravaganza with our friends with Jack Schwartz importers out of Chicago. Speaking of Chicago pizza, they may not have great taste in pizza, but they do have great taste in cigars. Jack Schwartz. And that will be on July 4th. We'll be cooking at 3 p.m. with a live show. And then we'll also be doing a live firework extravaganza at 9 p.m. And those will be streaming on LFD and Hacking Gourmet as well. So the gourmet session's coming up in the next couple weeks here. It's going to be a fun time celebrating America over the end of the month.
Right on.
It's gonna be a good time. You've done a really good job with the gourmet smoke sessions. So just keep rolling with it. I think it's gonna be. I've had some of the special releases. They're pretty cool. So yeah, just keep on trucking with that. Next week we have Amanda McAuliffe from our friends over at McAuliffe Cigars joining us, and then after that we have on the 23rd we have Eric from Dojo joining us on the show. So we got a couple of fun weeks ahead of us, and then we're getting close to PCA. So we haven't really talked much actually about what we're gonna do that week. There will be a show. I will say that there will be a show. Nicole and I will most likely. Actually, we will be there. We fly in on the 8th, so we'll be here. So on the 14th, we will be live from Las Vegas, because Nicole and I will actually still be there after the trade show as well. So we will be live from Las Vegas on the 14th, kind of like a post show. And John won't be there, but we will all be here and we'll be live. So look forward to that. So that's what we have coming up in the next couple of weeks. Guys, as always, thanks for watching. Kevin, thank you for joining us, and thanks for hanging out and smoking with us and keeping it weird. As I
No,
like to,
you're
like to
very welcome. Like I said, thank you. I had a blast. I have fun doing these, so thank you so very much.
Yeah, we just another conversation in the lounge, so to speak, as we like to say.
Yeah.
But guys, we'll see you next week. Stay tuned for more.